Okay, so Jackie and I have been selling freezer beef for about a year now, maybe a little bit more. And a lot of people that we're finding is that a lot of people have not bought freezer beef before. So they think, man, it's going to take up a whole big deep freezer. You know, how much is a quarter? How much is a full beef? A lot of different questions. How is it packaged? So I thought we'd answer a few questions in a video. We don't have any videoing skills, but I thought I'd show you kind of what it looks like and how we do up a steak really nice. So if you have any questions or want to know how to prepare a certain roast or something like that, I am no expert, but I'd be happy to help and maybe make another video doing a roast or something like that. So you're going to get a mix. Once the beef is taken to the butcher, you're going to get, you know, part of it's going to be your roast, part of it's going to be your different cuts of steak. Then there's a lot of hamburger left over, so you can choose what you want if you buy a full beef, but typically what we've been doing is selling a quarter or half at a time, and we choose how that's done just on what most people will eat and what we think they might like to have and what we enjoy. So you're going to get a few different roasts. There's going to be chuck roast, rump roast. There's a couple of other different varieties in there, and it comes in a nice either butcher paper or vacuum sealed, depending on which butcher we end up taking it to. We try to ask the butcher to cut the steaks into 1-inch steaks. I think typical is 3/4. We like them a little bit thicker, but not too crazy. And to have them packaged at 4 in a pack. Sometimes there's not enough to do another pack, or sometimes you might just end up with 2 steaks in one because they didn't have enough to make 4. So it can kind of vary a little bit. So like this, for example, this is a nice big package of ribeye steaks. This is actually from a full-size Angus, not one of our minis, so it's a little bit bigger, but you're going to have 4 to 5 really nice ribeye steaks in here. Of course, you have your sirloin steaks. I can tell there's 4 in there, good size. The other thing I've noticed doing freezer beef is that the butcher really takes off a lot of the fat that you'd see in the store, but there's still a lot of good fat on there to help you make good, delicious steaks. This is the what I call the money meat inside. I prefer not to have them do T-bone steaks. I'd rather have them cut the bone off and make it a little bit cleaner. So what you end up getting instead of doing a T-bone steak is a New York and a tenderloin. So this is what's inside of that T-bone. And then of course today we're going to do New York steaks. We're going to have a quarantine busting party, and we have some family that lives down the road, and they've got about a dozen kids, so the adults need some time, the kids need some time. We're going to send all the kids there, and we're going to have some adult steaks tonight. So we got out some New York strip steaks. I'm going to show you how to make that. So I started them defrosting. That's the biggest mistake people make when they're cooking their steaks, is they decide at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, hey, let's have steak tonight. And if you don't properly get it defrosted, it's not going to turn out just right. So one of the things that we like, if you can show them this, son. This is a sous vide. I think that's how people say it. I'm probably wrong. But my father-in-law bought this, and I think you can find it for about 80 bucks on Amazon. And it will actually get your steak to the exact temperature you want, and then all you have to do is sear it afterwards. Makes things super simple. In fact, I think this is how the restaurants do it, is they'll cook up a bunch of steaks that are already cooked to, you know, medium rare or medium, well done, all that kind of stuff. And then they pull it out and they just sear it. So here's what I like to do, keeps it really simple. You get a gallon Ziploc bag, open it up, you start with just a little dab of olive oil. If you end up buying inferior meat and not Rasmussen Farms meat, you might want to add just a little beef bouillon, but really you don't have to do that. Little garlic, salt, and some black pepper, and that's all you need. Let the beef flavor come out in it. Let it sit in there and kind of massage it and love it a little bit as it gets to temperature. Really, when you're doing a sous vide, it doesn't have to be completely room temperature or anything like that. You can go ahead and throw it in this. So basically, here's what our New York steaks look like. Oh, I forgot the hamburger real quick. Sorry to go back. But the hamburger also comes in 1-pound packages. You can throw it in the microwave to defrost partially. Makes it really easy if you need to make spaghetti or simple meals that call for a pound of hamburger. You've got that. And then we also have them do about 30 to 40% of that hamburger and have them pounded out into patties for you. And that's one of the biggest pains, I think, of doing hamburgers is, you know, you can just grab this out of your freezer, have some people over, you've got wax paper in between it, and you can put those right on the grill. Very, very simple. So the way this sous vide thing, how we're gonna do that is we want our steaks to be, I like it medium well, real close to medium. So what you do is you go ahead and set your temperature. I'm gonna set this at 138 because we've done it at 135 and I think it needs just a little bit more. Plus you're gonna add a few degrees by searing it. So we'll set that and go ahead and hit start. What this does, you can kind of hear the hum of the motor, and it will just start getting this water to the right temperature. It also has an app. If you have it on your phone, it'll alert you when it hits the desired temperature. Depending on how cold it is, it'll take about, I'd say 2 to 4 hours. And you can do this with almost any cut of meat as well. And it'll let you know here to pull that meat. You can put it back in the fridge if you want, if you just want to make sure your steaks are going to be ready. That way you can get your grill really hot to sear it. And I'll show you that process. I can go ahead and get this put in. I'll put the other bag in after we do a little video. I think you actually have to let a little more air out so it'll get all the way underneath the water. And the last time we did this, we ended up turning the Traeger all the way up to as high as it'll go, searing each side for about 3 or 4 minutes. And this time we're going to try doing it on a cast iron skillet because I think it'll give it a little better crust. But we'll come back and show you how the rest of the process goes. Okay, so we've unplugged the sous vide. They've been cooking for a couple hours. Got it to the temperature we want. And one of the things I learned about using this tool, which is kind of surprising, is that you actually have to pat the meat down. So it's going to be, you know, super wet from being in here, of course. And the meat looks funny, but we're going to sear it to where it's beautiful. So that's cooked just the way we want it. Oh, and it smells good. It's just not pretty yet, but it will be. And we're gonna get, like I said, we're gonna try to do this on the cast iron skillet. It's supposed to sear it and give it more of a crisp edge, I guess. We haven't tried that before, but I think it's gonna be really good. So I'll pat those down, get some butter going in the pan. And the reason why you want to use actual butter is because if you do oil in there, it's going to take on the flavor of the oil, and that's what your steak's going to taste like. But of course, everybody loves butter, right? And I think what I'm going to do is put a little garlic salt in that. Let's come over here so you can see it. We'll put them on there.
You need an oven mitt, don't you?
No, it's so big.
Switchy places.
Sear those for a couple minutes on each side for 1.5 to 2 minutes. Josh, I like your hat. Alright, so after about 1.5 minutes, go ahead and flip it. Do the same thing. Oh, see that nice Good sear mark in there. And I'd say only let those go for another minute. Pull them off, and the other thing is make sure that you let the steaks rest for a good 8 to 10 minutes. That's the key. All the muscles tighten up when they get hot, and then they relax and get nice and tender. Quit laughing at me, dear. Pull this off, and you definitely don't need to do this if you don't want to. But if you want to go the extra mile, this is not healthy. Well, other than do a little bit of butter on this as it rests and gets happy. Shut up, dear. And then to top it off, you need a little finishing dust. This is just some seasoning. It's not a secret, but just the stuff that you like. A little bit of chili powder, garlic powder, pepper, salt, and that just gives you just a little more flavor on the bite. And that's good.
It's good?
Yep. All right, here's the moment of truth. We'll cut into it and see if it's as good as it looks. It cuts right through so easy. Oh, look at that.
Perfection.
That is pretty. The other thing about having steak is that you can't let it go to waste. You have to have a really good dinner with it. Taters look fancy and good. All right. Thank you guys for joining us.